Would anyone care to report that first out loud?
The body is God's personal meeting room.
Yes, yes, that's our actual quest this morning, this day. How can we set up the meeting room, right? Can we? We began off script to wonder, is this even a body called a self? And the way I represent what answers me, out loud saying what answers me, it said, this is not a self. But we might be able to call it a meeting area for you who have things to think about, for angels, for demons, for our own role. But it's a meeting area. And we know it because we're always having these, whether they're conversations, they are conversions of indirect and somewhat direct anthologies of things we've pondered or been brutalized by, called experiences we didn't want. You with me so far? Yes or no?
It's a busy meeting room, a busy conference room.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So give a moment. Realize how busy we've been and how we just let any little bee into our bonnet, and some of them sting because we're fighting at them from an odd place of, let's call it an odd plane. If we know, and it's intricate, that this is a meeting room for the sustenance and conversion of data that will manifest eventually as a way to connect to holism. We can put it all together like a computer, an internet, but that will outsize this little one if we call ourselves a self, a person, instead of an internet. Is that more interesting? It is to me. Cool. I'm an internet. Who knows what'll fly through? And this brings me back to one of this morning's pieces. I was given a fact that something will be brought person, and I wanted to know some details so I would know what to do, and it wouldn't tell me. I'm like, that's not fair. I want to know in advance. And the problem with my knowing in advance is it makes me a person waiting for something other than me to come in. And it separates me from the internet. The internet responds, my Alexa responds in the very breath. I haven't even finished what I'm about to say sometimes, and it's answering. That's how fast you are made to be as an antenna quality that has biased those antennas toward holism, not only of Earth, not only of the galactic scene, biased itself toward the one that knows, that's here first, that knows itself to be of a great presence. I'm pausing and going slowly because it's rolling around. It's giving me an appetite to realize we created one called the Antichrist. And if you know anything about the Antichrist, that is a very believable character. The Antichrist will say, I am the one. You have awaited this one. I am God made heavenly in a form. And who's to say that woman or man is not exactly true? An Antichrist, however, sets itself up as an individual self representing God. Apparently, that's our clue.
So the real difference is, that I'm very familiar with, is when I think I'm in charge, I am the Antichrist. To some extent, or more, or less, yes.
Mm-hmm. To a tiny extent, but yeah, you're on the target. Mm-hmm. So we led into this before we even turned on the YouTube with what is possible to change, and the fact that we want to change. And who is it that wants to change? Those little ideas come up. And the holy side said, there's nothing to change. And our body goes, oh, well, there should be. I was mean to my cat, or whatever.
The word Antichrist sometimes implies something that isn't maybe what I meant when I just spoke. It essentially is standing apart from God, or from what is real, what is true. And so, what she said in other words.
I think it is trying to be God, that it's sure it is from God. What apparently it's up to that makes it not God fully yet is that it's made itself into an individual God.
Yes.
That's why we need to stay humble, without judgment, and let the divine scurry on through this net of idea mind and pull out some of the corny ideas about I am one, I am the self. Just long enough to infiltrate with holism so no other possibility comes in. I'm just rummaging around with many scurries that God level has done through this human body for the data that helps this miracle happen today. The miracle of not fussing over how God works, nor standing apart and just watching it. It's somehow being so immersed that God level emerges, and it will look and sound and act appropriately. But it won't think of the word I, nor that you or another is not this too. What doesn't change, in other words, is what God level connects to. What is that real? Empirical evidence of unity. And our sly mind confounds itself with, I need to be that. It just needs to be awake and open so that reveals through your lips and acts. It just reveals.